9 is in startup.
As we just heard, Falcon 9 is in startup, which means the vehicle's internal flight computers have now taken over control of the launch countdown.
SpaceX launch director, go for launch.
And there we go, folks, with the final go for launch from our launch director. All systems are go for launch of Falcon 9 with the Galaxy 37 Horizons 4 satellite.
30 seconds. Seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff of Falcon 9. Go Falcon, go Galaxy 37.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
T plus 30 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. During ascent, we'll tilt the engines in a technical term called gimbaling, and that will turn the rocket horizontally in what we call a gravity turn.
Nominal power and telemetry.
Now we're still going up, but we're also heading horizontally away from the launch pad. And the rocket typically needs to go about 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and reach orbit.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Just like that cannonball I mentioned earlier in the webcast. Now coming up, we should throttle down the Merlin 1D engines in preparation for max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Max Q.
And there's that call out. We did just pass through the point of max Q. And now we have 3 events coming up in quick succession, starting with MECO, Stage SEP, and SES-1. Main engine cutoff, or MECO, is the point during the flight where we shut down those 9 Merlin 1D engines on the first stage. Shortly after that, stages 1 and 2 will separate from each other, and that's so that the second stage isn't carrying unnecessary mass to orbit, and of course, the first stage booster begins its trip back down to Earth. Second engine start 1, or SES-1, will be when we ignite the Merlin vacuum engine onboard the second stage.
Nominal trajectory.
So we're coming up on those events in around 40 seconds, so let's keep a close eye on our screen for those events. Getting some great views of the ascent of the first stage here. You can see the plume of the rocket is expanding as the surrounding atmospheric pressure decreases.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. And vac ignition.
There we go, folks. You just heard and saw those 3 events that happened back to back. Those were MECO, Stage SEP, and SES-1. Coming up next in around 30 seconds will be fairing separation. As a reminder, on the left side of your screen, you are seeing a live view of the first stage. And on the right side of your screen, you're seeing a live view of the MVAC engine attached to the second stage. Now keep a close eye on the telemetry in the bottom left and right corners of your screen. You can see MVAC is continuing to accelerate the payload faster and faster. And stage 1 is actually slowing down as it is no longer under power of rocket engines.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there we go. There go those 2 fairing halves. We will be attempting to retrieve both of those again today once they fall back to Earth, and we'll be using our recovery vessel, Bob, for that.
Stage 1 entry burn startup. Stage 1 FTS is saved.
And there's that call out. We did just start up engines 1, 5, and 9 for the entry burn. This burn is around 20 seconds in total. You can see in the telemetry in the bottom left side of your screen that the vehicle is slowing down rapidly now.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And there we go. Just had confirmation of Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Stage 1 landing burn. MVAC shutdown.
There's SECO 1. We're just waiting confirmation of a good orbit and a Stage 1 landing.
Nominal orbit insertion.
There we go. Great news there. Confirmation of a good orbit.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
There you have it, folks.
Expected losses, Cape.
That landing marked SpaceX's 213th recovery of an orbital-class rocket, and that includes first stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy missions.
MVAC ignition.
And as you just heard and can see on your screen, we did just start up that MVAC engine. This is the second of 2 planned burns for the MVAC engine today. And again, this burn should last just about a minute. Now, today's mission is what we call a GTO, or geostationary transfer orbit. The current burn is putting the high end of the orbit at an altitude of about 35,000 kilometers or 22,000 miles. And the spacecraft will do the rest of the work to put the other side of the orbit at the same altitude. And at that point, it'll be in a geostationary orbit.
Nominal payload insertion orbit.
Great news there. Just had confirmation of a good orbit on the second burn. The payload is still attached to the Falcon 9 second stage, and deployment is scheduled in just about 4 minutes from now. So while we wait for that, let's sit back and enjoy the views.
Galaxy 37 spacecraft separation confirmed.
There we go, folks. With that confirmation of successful payload deployment, that will end our coverage of the Intelsat Galaxy 37 mission. All of us here at SpaceX want to give a big thank you to our customer Intelsat for entrusting us with today's mission. We also want to give a big shout out to the Range and Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's launch. Today's flight concludes SpaceX's 251st overall mission to date and our 52nd launch of 2023. And of course, thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will see you again soon.